Welcome to the 5G Podcast.
We're glad you're here.
We hope you enjoy our conversations about God, guns, games, goals, and gastronomy.
Now sit back, relax, and enjoy this week's episode.
We'll start off with this. Ready? Went to go see the new Mission Impossible last night.
Oh, yeah.
Great movie.
Great movie.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Solid 8.5 out of 10.
I'm excited. That's cool.
Yeah.
That's Tom Cruise, man. He knows what he's doing.
And they did. It was a long movie, right? But it's part one of two.
Really? Okay.
But it ended in a way where it was like, okay, the plot of that movie
Yeah.
ended.
That's impressive. And then there's
There's a continuation plot. So there were
It's not a true cliffhanger.
No,
Right,
it's
it
not a
did
cliffhanger
end.
because there's zero suspense.
Yeah.
Everything resolves. So it is a standalone movie.
Cool.
Right? But what they did is that there's two plot lines that are connected to one another that run at the same time.
Yeah.
They have the same starting point because they're related to the same thing. And then they go and they diverge based off of the story, right? And then this one is just like an underlying plot. And this one is like the plot of the movie.
Yeah.
And then at the end of the movie, this plot resolves and meets back up with the underlying plot, and it all kind of comes back together in a very, very good, well-written way.
Okay. So then is the second movie going to be continuation, or do we get to see the same timeline of that other story?
No, so the story, the secondary plot, so to speak, the underlying plot is not
It's not.
an ongoing plot. It is a state of something that is in existence.
Spoiler free. Appreciate that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right, yeah.
It sounds like you're having a hard time, so I
It's
appreciate the effort.
yeah. I'm trying not to do spoiler alerts. Like I'm trying to make sure that I explain the good aspects of the plot line without giving away the actual plot.
Sure.
But
I watched one spoiler free review on it, and it looks pretty cool. It looks fun.
it was a spy action movie.
Yeah.
There was deception and subterfuge and fist fights in alleyways and obviously like skydiving and like fast car chases and stuff like
big
that.
stunts.
And there was some very, 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 very funny moments that they weren't forcing to be funny.
Okay. That's
Where it was like they would just like look at each other and like what?
Yeah.
And everyone just died because it was like you could see that happening where it's like something dumb just happens and they're just like.
Just a little bit of realism.
And they don't like try to make it like a joke or anything like that in the movie.
Yeah, it's
just funny.
it's fluid, it's natural,
which is good. So a little bit of comedy, lots of action, good storyline. Not like the most breakthrough storyline ever.
Well, I mean, and that's what you would come to expect from a Mission Impossible movie. I mean, 20 years ago or whatever, when they were making the first ones, like it's a spy action movie. It's cool, and maybe it's just there haven't been as many of them, but we're not as like loaded down with them like Marvel movies. Every new Marvel movie, we're just like whatever, superheroes.
Speaking of new movies, I think it's hilarious that Marvel movies and DC movies have been doing so bad recently.
Yeah.
And Disney movies in general, like Lucasfilm movies as well. Indiana Jones.
It's not doing good.
No. And neither is the Flash movie.
Oh yeah, dude, I forgot that came out.
So everyone did.
I remember hearing it came out. I had like a brother-in-law who saw it, and then like a week passed, and then I just forgot about it. So
yeah, Ryan went and saw it, and she said it was okay. She said it was fine, but she likes a lot of dumb movies.
So forgettable then, at least.
Yeah. Her and my mom went and saw Indiana Jones, and they said it was very meh as well.
I saw enough reviews on that. I was like, it's not going to be worth my money.
I saw enough of the commercials, the trailers for it, and I was like,
Critical Drinker on YouTube. Yeah, he's the one I watched of Mission Impossible. His review of it, he compared it to Indiana Jones. He's like, this is the same general premise of like pull old retired action hero, out of retirement for a job and. He's got a younger female sidekick or whatever. He's like, this is the exact same thing, but Mission Impossible just did it way better.
Mission Impossible knocked that out of the park.
Yeah.
They really did hit a home run with this movie. And I think it's broadcast that the actress is Haley Atwell, the new one that comes in.
Yeah, I've seen her in the trailers too. Yeah.
And she's not like the youngest person. Like, she's not like 22, right?
No.
But she was in Captain America. and stuff like that. But she is a superb actress,
Yeah, yeah.
and she does very well in that movie.
That's cool.
And so, and she the interaction between Tom Cruise and her and like their characters is like, and they're not trying to force her into being like the bad A woman. She's like the classic Mission Impossible woman character.
Oh, okay, kind of
is a bad A.
The femme fatale is the archetype. She's like a dangerous woman, but
Yeah.
yeah,
She plays just like all the other Mission Impossible ladies.
mm-hmm.
Exactly
cool.
like that, which is like a very good way to do it, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And there's not like a love interest or anything like that between them. It's just straight, like, let's get down to business, let's do this. And like they make her skill set very, very good at what she does. And then like they grow her character very well as well.
Interesting.
So yeah, it was a very good movie. Very good movie.
Well, nice.
Very good movie. I almost fell asleep during it because of the weekend revelries.
Ah, gotcha.
It was
Gotta catch up on all the lack of sleep and caffeine highs. And
the first night we got what, 4 hours of sleep?
if that, yeah.
I mean, we went to bed 4:30 in the morning.
It wasn't 4 straight hours of sleep because there was bugs and cold and hot. It was
Hot,
and
really hot,
noises,
and then cold, and then really hot again.
And for you, snoring, hearing snoring. Not, it was me
Yeah,
doing
yeah.
the snoring.
Yeah, you and Colin. And, yeah. So I suppose we should let everyone know what the revelries were.
Big bachelor party getaway. Big
Yeah, the 4 of us.
party.
It was a party.
It was a party.
It was a good time.
It was a get together.
Yeah. So we had a bachelor party for our good friend Caleb. He's getting married in 3 weeks. 3 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah.
Got up out of the heat, out of the valley.
Yeah, got up, went to a cabin up in the woods, and cabin. It was a cabin.
It was a fancy cabin.
It was a fancy cabin, but
There were logs.
yeah, there were logs in the fire pit. We went up there and spent the weekend doing nerd stuff. We did a magic draft, which was pretty sweet.
We did the trio. We did Magic, Warhammer, and Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
And it had good food.
Yeah. Solid food. A+ on the menu. Well done.
Yeah, I'm pretty proud of it. I was pretty happy with it. I overshot it a little bit, I think.
A little bit too much food for 4 guys.
Yeah, I think a little bit because I brought home a ton of food.
Ooh. Yeah.
Which is not a bad thing, right? Like whatever. But
It'll get eaten.
we didn't do the
the other breakfast.
omelets on Monday or
eggs
Sunday
and sausage.
whatnot.
And...
Yeah, which is fine. Like,
Sure.
but we had first night was delicious salad with chicken.
Yeah. Yeah, that chicken salad was good.
Pizza. Yeah, it was a good menu. The steaks, I thought were
A+.
pretty good.
Those were T-bone, right?
Yes.
Thought so, yeah.
T-bone or porterhouse?
Oh yeah, they're really similar. But like the one side is like
I don't remember what the difference is.
leaner than the other side of the bone.
Yeah.
So you kind of get two varieties.
Yeah,
there.
yeah.
It's nice.
Yeah. It's like a New York strip on the
Maybe that's
side,
what it is.
and then like a fillet on the middle side.
But together they call it the porterhouse.
Or T-bone, yeah. I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know what the difference is.
that's cool.
All I know is I was at Fry's or where, yeah, Fry's, and I was like, "What is the?"
No licks. Go
away, dog. Go.
on. My wife's gonna watch that on video and be like, "You hit my dog."
I didn't. You can't see anything.
Oh, okay. We'll edit that out. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, I went to Fry's and I was like, I was looking for steaks, right? And I was like, okay, I can get like 4 ribeyes, and like I love a ribeye, so I was like, ooh, that sounds good. And they were so expensive.
Really?
So expensive. And these T-bones per pound or whatever were like almost the same as like sirloin.
Really?
And so I was like,
That's just
I'm gonna get that.
More meat, yeah.
Yeah. So, it was each one came. It was like a 2-pack in each one. It was like $25 for a 2-pack or whatever. So it was good.
That's perfect. Yeah.
The draft was fun. We did a Strixhaven draft booster box that we did 2 drafts out of. We did a traditional draft.
Booster draft and then a sealed.
Yeah.
I don't have a better name for that, but
And during the sealed draft, was it during the sealed draft that I pulled the
yes,
the fairies protection?
yeah,
that was really funny. So I gotta.
I thought you were joking because we were joking all night of like, oh, what's this card? I think this card's expensive, and we'd list off some dumb random name or whatever, or we'd lie and be like, oh, I think I got a Black Lotus.
Yeah.
But then.
Well, this is the thing though, is because I'm so new to this, like to Magic.
Mm-hmm.
I know Black Lotus.
Yeah.
But that's the only one that I'm like, oh, I know what that card is immediately when I pull it out. It's like, if you show me a shiny card, I'm like, whoa, that's super cool. But it's like, oh yeah, this is a 7-cent card. It's like, oh, okay, it's worth less than a land.
It looks cool, yeah.
Yeah. But the Strixhaven art is really cool with like the green and with the.
It's the yellow
design.
background and the.
But I was opening this pack and like I pulled, the back card is always like the mythic rare, the rare or whatever. And I open it and it's like, oh, it's got the orange little square. It's like, oh, that's cool. It's a mythic rare. And I read it and I'm like, Teferi's Protection. Huh. And like I was like, oh, cool, Teferi's Protection. And everyone was like, no way, you're lying, right? And I think you said like, you're joking, right? And I was like, no, look. And I like showed it to you. He was like, what the freak?
That's a Teferi's Protection.
$26 card or whatever it is.
Yeah.
And
it used to be more. It used to be up over 50, but.
And I was like, cool. So I put it in like the hardback sleeves, the one that I have. And I was like, cool. This is never going to get used. I don't play white decks.
You have one white precon, you said, and you're like, all right, maybe I'll just throw it in there.
Yeah, it's a white blue, the spirit precon.
Which is funny because it's like,
blue, yeah.
I'm thinking about it. I'm like, yeah, I wish I owned a Teferi's Protection. I could probably put that in at least 3 decks offhand.
I mean,
that are like a lot of my white decks are kind of more controlling in nature, so it's good to have that. I mean, it's the best protection spell in the whole game.
Yeah, because everything just goes away.
Yeah, you're safe for
and not even
turn.
Even you aren't targetable.
Yeah,
right?
it's your life total can't change.
Yeah,
technically you can be targeted, but it wouldn't. Doesn't matter.
Yeah. It's interesting.
The only one thing that matters is weird ruling. Is commander damage can still kill you. This is your life total can't change, but
commander damage doesn't change your life.
It still tracks how much.
Oh, and because everything's phased out, you can't.
You have
block.
no blockers, yeah. So if somebody's close enough, or they can deal 21 damage.
Or just pump your commander enough to like one turn. Like I have my Shishiru.
If he gets big enough.
I mean, I've gotten him pretty big before.
Yeah.
I've gotten him to be chunks.
Somebody's like, oh, I'm gonna Teferi's Protection. I'm totally safe. Commander damage, kill him.
Well, I even in my Shishiru deck, I even have a combo where if I have a certain enchantment out, I can give a creature that each creature that enters the battlefield either gets a 1/1 counter or haste.
Oh yes,
and so I also have that equipment that gives the creature +1/+1 for each land you control.
Yeah. Yep.
And so I could literally just like, oh, I play my commander, give him haste, attach that, whack you for 21 damage.
That's be a big surprise out of nowhere, totally.
And then everyone's like, oh my god, she died with the Teferi's Protection.
It can't happen.
Yeah.
But nonetheless, it was a good card. It was a good pull.
It was fun. And there's a couple other good ones in there that were
Natural Order is a sweet one from that set. I like it. It's a good green tutor.
Yeah.
Because you just sacrifice a green creature and go get any other creature out of your deck. So.
Yeah. I've got to go through. I'm going to go through and I have that app that I told you about. I'm going to go through and take a catalog of every single one of the cards that I got so I can like figure out what it is.
Oh, nice, nice.
I look through there and now I'm like, I don't know what any of this junk is. So but I'm gonna probably there's probably enough cards in there for me to make it 4 decks. But I'm gonna at least try to make one good one.
Try to make
commander deck, right?
Yeah, yeah.
I have to figure out who the legendary creatures are in there.
Yeah, and pull out all the legendaries.
It's worth using though.
I know.
There was that double-sided one that.
Yeah, I got. That one was a planeswalker, unfortunately. The one I saw.
Well, there was another one too that was a
creature. Yeah, there was a white-red.
White-red, yeah.
That didn't seem super good.
Maybe I don't remember what he did.
Maybe the red guy was okay. I know he does something weird. He lets you like reveal cards from your library until you hit a like an instant or sorcery or something dumb like that. That costs less than 3 mana.
Yeah, that's right.
So I've seen people use them as like if there's one particular spell that's like a key
kind of like a
your
tutor
deck.
Almost.
Yeah, you can tutor up. You go through your whole deck until you find that one spell. It's kind of niche, but
yeah, interesting.
So,
well,
if you need help, let me know.
I definitely will.
Yeah.
That brings us to our second topic that I wanted to talk about. First of all, well, what do you want to talk about first? Your Magic deck creation, because you just created that new one of yours, or we can talk about the Warhammer battles that we had in
Ooh, yeah.
During the bachelor party.
Let's do the Warhammer.
Okay.
Yeah, since we played a couple more games of.
So tell me about the Earthshaker carriages.
So those are not fun. Yeah, they're not great. I mean, they're great, but they're not great for me. Three of them
with the Lord Solar with their commands and the Scout Walker.
One shooting phase, like per each shooting phase, you just knock out a whole squad of my elite infantry, and I'm like, okay. all I have left is just my one lone sorcerer. It's just like, what happened to all the guys around me?
It was pretty funny.
Yeah, and then assuming they're little debuff stacks, which I don't see why it wouldn't. It's like, oh, and now I have a 0 movement on my next turn. I can't move at all.
Yeah, because it's -2.
-2 per shot. That hits them. So
per cannon that attack.
That targeted them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so if 3 of them hit, they have a -6 movement, and it's like, okay.
I believe that's how it works. Yeah.
Yeah, and then they also have a -6 to charges and
which I guess would maybe technically matter if his move is 0, but he still has somebody within range to charge. You could still technically charge.
Yeah, but they have to be within 7, like
6
if they're
inches.
over 6 inches, you just
it's impossible. Yeah, that'd be weird.
You can try. But...
The only way I got out of it that second time you did it to me is that sorcerer had an item where he was able to teleport. That was the only.
Yeah.
So next turn I just teleported away.
Yeah, but I think I definitely played that battle wrong because I used my Scout Walkers as weapons.
Shields? Oh, as weapons.
Right? I used them to attack when I should use them to, maybe hunter killer like one random target here and there, like maybe use their last cannons.
Mm-hmm.
But I really need them for that buff that they give my Earthshakers because if my Earthshakers get a hold of an infantry unit, it's like
it's game over
because it's got blast. It's got D6 plus 3 attacks.
Mm-hmm.
No, D6 plus 6?
No, it was D6 plus 3.
Plus 3 attacks.
Yeah.
And blast.
Mm-hmm.
So it gets an extra attack per 5 units.
5 models, but yeah.
5 models, yeah, sorry.
That's right.
And so I think on one of my attacks I had I rolled a 6 and I had 9 attacks against your guys.
A high roll one of those times.
Or maybe it was a 5, I rolled a 5 and I had 8 attacks against you.
With
and
the
then
blast.
AP -2. Right?
Yeah, I think so. I'm pretty sure I was using my.
And then it's 2 damage per hit.
Yep, so that knocks out an elite infantry per shot. That's nothing I can do about that.
I actually think it might be better against elite infantry than small infantry.
Yeah, you save the Gatling cannons and stuff like that for the.
Unfortunately, I don't have any Gatling cannons.
All the 30 shots, 1 damage each.
Yeah. Well, that's what my Kriegsmen are for.
Yeah, right. All just the little tiny small arms fire.
Volume of fire.
Mm-hmm.
Accuracy by volume. Because all the Kriegsmen have las guns,
mm-hmm.
and las guns have rapid fire 1.
Yeah.
At least the Kriegsmen las guns do. I'm sure there's a las gun that has rapid fire 2 or whatever. But then one of the orders I can do is first rank fire, second rank fire, and it gives all of their weapons +1 rapid fire.
Oh, that's right.
So I can give them all rapid fire 2.
Nice.
And so rapid fire allows you, if you're within half the distance of the gun, of the range of the weapon, you can take an extra shot with that weapon.
You're
so instead of 1 shot, you can take 2. But if they're within half range, I can take 3 shots then.
Per guy.
And so my group that has 18 las guns all of a sudden takes 54 shots.
It doesn't matter if they're all 1 damage. I mean,
54 shots is a lot of okay.
You're gonna get something.
Let's say I get really crappy on the rolls and only hit 25%, which might actually not be crappy. Now that I think about it, but
Well, you're better on the hit roll than on the wound roll for sure, because their hits at least at 5.
4
or 4 plus.
4 plus. Yeah.
Yeah, your wound roll is basically always going to be a 6 because las guns are only 3 strength.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're hitting other infantry, that's fine.
Might be a 5 plus, 4
Yeah.
plus, but I mean, still,
volume of shots.
Even if I hit 12% of the shots, that's 6 wounds.
Yeah. 1 damage each. That's significant.
Like, that's a lot.
And it's not like you really burned any resources for that. Like I
No, it's a free. I get so many. I get a free order every turn.
all the orders. Yep.
Well, I get for each unit. I get a free order.
I think you guys, you and Caleb being the Astra Militarum, were using your army rules pretty well. You guys were learning those.
Yeah, this was my first time playing my Kriegsman,
Mm-hmm.
and so it was really. I really had to kind of like, okay, what goes? How does this work? And yeah, so it was good though. I really enjoyed that.
That was a lot of fun.
And then D&D was fun.
Mm-hmm.
And we killed some. We released Satan from hell.
Yeah, that was good.
Yeah.
was a
Other
good
than that, no big deal.
We're only level 3, so
Yeah.
we
No,
figured
we're level 4 now.
Oh,
we leveled up.
we leveled up
afterwards.
because we freed Satan.
Yeah.
We can get experience for that.
For the record, we are a lawful good group.
Yeah, pretty good aligned.
Like maybe neutral good. Some of like I don't know.
Do you
Like
think-
lawful good though.
Could be semi chaotic sometimes, but no, yeah, all good. 3 Musketeers.
Yeah, we even named ourselves after the Three Musketeers.
That's right.
But yeah, we released Satan from
There's some
his eternal prison.
some other big scary demon.
Yeah, he's not actually Satan, but felt like him.
the demon of D&D.
Yeah. And then I was falling asleep that night because the previous night when we stayed up till 4:35 in the morning.
Playing Warhammer. Why did we stay up so late the first night? Warhammer and Magic. Yeah.
Was it Warhammer? Oh, we did the draft.
Oh yeah, that's right. The booster draft.
We did the first draft.
Yep.
And then
Yeah,
then we
the
did Warhammer as well.
Second night we were like dead tired, and so yeah, you
And
just
we got in
crashed.
bed by like midnight,
Mm-hmm.
and then woke up at 8:30. Then
Played a 3-hour game of Magic, and
it wasn't quite 3 hour game, but it was a long time. I was very very happy with how well my deck was doing against you
Yeah.
guys.
yeah, that was
But-
insane.
This brings up the next topic.
Mm-hmm.
You have created out of the ashes and badness that was the Lord of the Rings commander decks,
Lord of the Rings, yeah.
a pretty good commander deck with a lot of. I mean, it's your Lord of the Ring deck. Like,
Yeah, yeah,
It's a Lord of the Ring deck.
It's at least probably 50% Lord of the Rings cards, I think, maybe even more.
Well, I mean, you've got Merry Pippin, Sam Treebeard, the Gisela lady or whatever her name is, the food lady.
Yep, the food lady, Rosie Cotton.
Yeah, I don't know where Gisela came from, but
I think Bill the Pony is in there.
I mean, you've got like a decent amount of.
I've got the other Sam, the other Pippin.
You have
Yeah.
one of the Frodos in there.
No, none of the Frodos really fit too well with.
Yeah,
With
only
my
that
strategy.
commander might have fit with like the food stuff, but you
Maybe.
create a bunch of food tokens and treasure tokens and clue
tokens.
and then you can use those tokens to kill people,
Yeah,
which is
yeah, I got the idea because there's a lot of red and sort of black effects that are having to do with artifacts in general, but like artifact tokens are a really efficient way to do it. So one of my favorite old cards from way back in the day, just some random common from Mirrodin, which is one of the first sets I was like playing a little bit more that I at least recognized. Mirrodin, he's 1 black for a 1/1. His name's Disciple of the Vault. Is whenever an artifact is put into a graveyard from play, each opponent loses a life. So it's like that's not really that good inherently unless you have a bunch of artifact tokens that you can sacrifice. You make them for cheap, you sacrifice them for cheap. So I ran with that idea, seeing all the food token synergies that we weren't super hot on when we talked about the deck.
well, we were just talking about the inherent
precon
synergies
in
within
general.
the precon.
Yeah,
right?
and
I don't
like-
know enough about like the whole.
Well, food in general has not been a great strategy. If people are using artifact tokens, they're usually going after treasures because that gets you mana.
Yeah.
That's a lot better. And there's some fringe decks that use the investigate because that draws you cards. But the food tokens just gain you life, and just gaining life doesn't win you a game. And so yeah, I went with all of the like create tokens, create artifacts, create tokens, and then sacrifice artifacts and sacrifice tokens. And so I combined all that together into one deck, and I got tons of those little effects like the Disciple of the Vault to just ping for like 1 damage. So it ends up being like a sacrifice theme, but not my creatures, just my dinky little tokens.
Well, but you have a couple of like big combos in there that really do some damage.
Mm-hmm.
Like you got 6 billion squirrels.
Yeah, that was awesome. I'd heard about that combo online actually when they first spoiled that card. Everybody was like, "Oh, this card combos perfectly with this one, a 2-card combo," and I was like, "Oh yeah, I'll throw those 2 in the deck. Why not? It fits." And then and then I did it. The first time I was like, "Yep, 6 billion squirrels."
And I killed them all.
And then you killed them all. It's not an amazing 2-card combo because it doesn't kill you immediately.
If you could somehow give them all haste,
yeah,
that would be brutal.
Which I do have one way I can think of in the deck so far to do that. So
because if you could give them all haste,
I use that on you later, right? I think that was Mary who does that.
Get +3/+3
and haste to all my creatures. But you have to tap Mary, so he needs to already be on your board.
Yeah.
Or find another way to give him haste, but
yeah. But then I was very happy with how my deck performed.
Yeah, it was insane.
That's the best it's ever done for sure.
I could not get through an army of spirits, and then like your recursion / your like protection from board wipes was way better than mine. So I had to keep like just rebuilding after every board wipe.
Yeah, because I played that enchantment that whenever any of my non-token spirits died,
you get another one.
I created a 1/1 spirit token with mine.
Or at some point, you just returned all the guys back from your graveyard.
Well, yeah, because I did that to myself. I board wiped.
Yeah.
And then I was like,
and
they're all back, but they were only one.
They were only one.
They still had all of their triggers and stuff like that, and so that was the important part.
Meanwhile, I just had to keep drawing cards and keep finding gas to power through, and that was tough.
But the deck seems to function well.
I think so. Yeah, I think I can see, as always, a deck always needs more removal. But it's like, you have to take out your fun pieces to put in removal sometimes, which everybody wants to do the thing in their commander deck. It's like, my commander deck does this thing. Yeah. And if you can't do the thing, or if somebody stops you from doing the thing, you're I came to play this game to
That's why I hate playing against Caleb's black deck.
You can't do anything.
Not the life manipulation.
Yeah, just the mono black.
The one where it's like creatures with 1 power
keep coming back to life.
Yeah. And it's just like, this is not fun because you just make us suffer the entire time.
And everybody discard your hand and sacrifice your creature.
Everyone sacrifices a creature and discards a card and like all this stuff.
And we're gonna do it all again next turn. I'm
like, and it's like it just keeps building because it's every turn like, oh yeah, I play another 1/1 rat poop scuttle or whatever you call it.
Some piece of crap card, but
and it's like, oh yeah, every turn, when this creature dies, discard a card, or when this creature ETBs, discard a card.
Mm-hmm.
Or each opponent loses 1 life, and he just like
keep repeating those.
It's very obnoxious.
See, the lose 1 life I'm okay with. I mean, I just described my entire strategy of tokens doing that, but because at least that's like pushing towards a victory. It's the gain 1 life things or the discard. Like, you can't win a game by just gaining life or by just discarding all your cards.
No, and it just makes the whole game miserable because like, oh yeah, I drew a card. Like after like the 7th turn when you're starting to getting close to top decking, unless you have a bunch of draw.
Yeah.
You have like 2 or 3 cards in your hand, and it's like, okay, Caleb's turn. I need to discard one of these.
I need both of these.
And I go before Caleb, so I have to draw. I draw a card. Oh, good. And then it's I have to discard. Great.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's like if it's a creature on his turn, the creature dies. So I'm not gonna unless it has haste. I'm not gonna have it up to do anything. I played it against Colin and I were playing against him one time, and I was playing my ninja deck, and I just couldn't do anything.
You just couldn't keep creatures out.
Do anything. It was very obnoxious.
That's why it's not always fun, but sometimes it's best. Just removal. Like,
well, the problem with that deck is that you can't remove anything.
Oh yeah.
Because it all just comes back.
You have to kill the commander first, and then like board wipe or whatever. But
but then he just sacks it.
Yeah.
He just has his sack outlet, whatever's.
It's tough. You definitely can't let it build up.
So when you go to, because I've designed one deck in my life. From like the ground up, one commander deck.
Yeah.
And it's okay. It's all right.
Mm-hmm.
It does the job mediocrely.
Yeah, it's pretty good. It's fun to play against. It's unique.
It's fun to play.
Yeah.
It's a good time. It's not by any means amazing though. I don't have any infinite combos in it or
No.
anything like that. And
We only really play casual Commander anyway, but
yeah,
sometimes we.
I mean, I didn't
Sometimes
build it.
we have combos.
I didn't build it to like be awesome, like competent.
Here's
Competitive.
$1,000. I'm gonna build the best
I think I
Magic
spent
deck.
$60 on the deck building the whole thing.
And that's reasonable.
But I wanted to ask you because you've built many decks,
Mm-hmm.
and most of them are pretty fantastic. At least in our friend groups
Thanks.
playing. So how do you go about building a deck? Do you have like one card in mind? You're like, I want to build a deck around this guy as my commander, or do you say, I want a deck that does this? How do I achieve that goal?
Yeah. I would say, man, I could probably do whole videos on this. Maybe I should. I don't know. Break it down because I do a lot on paper too. But I would say I have a couple different strategies, and I kind of end up combining them all, or only using some for some decks. Like there's certainly some where it's like I pick a commander and I'm just like, all right, I want a deck around this commander. Like one of them in particular was a Magnus the Red. He's a big demon from the Warhammer Demon Precon. So he's in that Precon, but then I was like, he's my favorite character from Warhammer, so I wanted to make his own commander deck.
Sure.
So I'll do that, and I'll find a way to make it work. But yeah, other times, my brother and I kind of theory craft a lot of just like, ooh, this would be a cool strategy. This is something cool that we'd like to see in Commander in a game of Magic. And then you go about trying to find a commander that works for that, or colors, what exactly you need for that type of strategy. But generally, I like to draw a little map. I don't know. It's like a like probably an English class. Like I could show you better on paper, but it's like a web. You've got your center bubble or whatever, which is like your commander or the one strategy that you want to do, and all the bubbles you have off of that are different pieces, different components that you need, but they should all be connected, hopefully around one center strategy. That's what I do. So my main bubbles off that is gotta have. The other ones might be different based on what you're doing, but you gotta have a card draw bubble, a removal bubble, a board wipe bubble. And so, say for instance that your theme is around like artifacts. If you can have card draw that's artifact themed, that helps with your synergy, it's great. That's perfect. That's why I like the bubbles, the little web, so that you're constantly focusing on that. Like, oh, maybe there's one random card draw card is really good, but if it can help with my strategy, that's even better. Board wipes is huge. I always talk about this. You want board wipes that are asymmetrical. You want board wipes that help you out more than the rest of the board. So it's like, they have some pretty good board wipes. Wrath of God is a classic one. That's 4 mana, so it's a cheap board wipe. It's just destroy all creatures. It's like, that's fine, but it's just going to kill all your creatures too. If you can pay a little bit extra mana for some of those some of those modal board wipes, if it's like destroy all non-artifact creatures, all right, now we're cooking.
Yeah, because then you can really like design the deck around, if you're doing this artifact deck, like destroy all non-artifact creatures. It's like, okay, well, that's everything but my deck,
but my stuff. So it's you find synergies like that, and then removal's the same way. If you can find generally removal, try to find a removal that maybe your colors aren't good at. You want to make sure you have those in. That's why a couple of them that are really common in the commander format are color pie breaks, meaning like the color is not really supposed to do that. Like Chaos Warp is a red one, but it hits any permanent. You can get rid of an enchantment, which is something red doesn't really do. Green has the Beast Within, destroy target permanent. Again, any permanent. So things like that. And then for the rest of the bubble, the rest of the map, I like to do some of my specific strategies. So if it's a combo deck, sometimes it's slightly different, and I won't do the map. I'll just assemble like the combos and the tutors. But really, you can have like tutors be a bubble if you're a combo deck, and that's really important. What tutors do I need, and how does that synergize with the pieces I need to get? And then you have like combo enablers and combo payoffs. I do pretty often, or for any purpose, not necessarily a win the game combo, but just synergy of like I need, let's say it's a 1/1 counter themed deck. You need enablers. You need stuff that puts 1/1 counters on things, and you need a reason to get them. So enablers and payoffs.
So the payoff wouldn't just be to get the 1/1 counter. If you want something that's like, oh, when some like a all will be one type thing where like you put a counter on something,
deal damage.
deals damage.
Yeah, maybe that's a bad example because it's like a
1/1 counter already kind of
1/1 counter is a payoff because you're making your creatures bigger, so it's kind of obvious. But then your payoffs can just be like, give all your creatures +X, where X is equal to the number of counters. Like you can do big finishers.
Sure.
Things like that. Make same thing with tokens. You can do the same thing with tokens. Make a bunch of tokens. Have some use for the tokens.
Yeah, because if you make a bunch of treasure tokens but have nothing to spend your mana on, it's like
or no cards in hand. Like if any of the pieces aren't there, it's like
yeah. But I like your clues and treasure tokens together. The food is like whatever, right?
It's whatever. Sometimes
if you make a bunch
alive.
of, if you make, we did on this last game,
Yeah.
you sacked 2 and kept
It was down to 1
4
health.
life left. Yeah. But yeah, like getting a bunch of treasure tokens and a bunch of clue tokens, you can then use the treasure tokens to get the card draw from the clue token.
Yes, exactly.
So that would be.
Yeah, so in that deck I have all of my payoffs is all of the like the Disciple of the Vault, all the deal 1 damage whenever you make an artifact or whatever. And then I have a lot of enablers, tons of things that make tokens in that deck. All the artifact, clue, food, treasure. Yeah. So
yeah,
that's kind of my general strategy against every deck. Maybe I do a little bit differently if I'm like fixated on one strategy or one particular card that I want. But that's
it's just very impressive to me when I play against some of your decks before, where it's like, okay, I have this deck, like my ninja deck, for example. It is extremely straightforward on what it does. Like my commander tells you what I'm going to do.
Yeah, right.
I'm going to give other creatures ninjutsu, right?
Pretty obvious.
That's about it.
No secrets.
And then, like, Tyranids. I make big creatures and put counters on creatures. That's like
Pretty simple.
that's the gist of the deck. Same with spirits. I create spirit armies. Same with, what's it called?
Shisuru.
I just that one actually has like a little bit of there's some like nuance to that one, which is cool
Yeah.
because it's recon. And actually, that deck is really fun to play. It's not like the most amazing deck in the world, but it's really fun
It's
to
impressive,
play.
yeah.
But then whenever I've played against your decks, you have like your Yorn
Oh, yeah.
or whatever his name is.
Jorn. Bjorn.
Whatever.
Jorn
He's like
Snow.
the snow permanent untapper. And like he's your commander. And I'm like, you untap snows?
Snow permanents. Ooh.
It's like, okay. Like that doesn't like all I know about that deck is that you get to untap your land. It's like yay.
But it doesn't reveal anything.
No.
Yeah.
Or this new deck, the food deck. Your commanders, it's like, oh yeah, I create a food token and a treasure token and a clue token.
Not even. The commanders just investigate. All they do is the clue tokens.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Like when you pull them out, I'm like, this doesn't seem like it. I think he just wanted.
That's not right, Trevor. What's wrong here? What's the catch?
I don't know if you know what you're doing, buddy, but let me tell you, that's not a good combo.
Yeah.
Clue tokens, while good as like side things, not great as a. I was wrong. I was incorrect.
Just I needed red, so I had to use because red has a lot of artifact stuff. So
Yeah.
and the precon with just the foods was only white, green, black. So I had to find some way to put red in there.
So did you have? It's a 3-color deck or
It's 4.
it's a 4-color
It's my
deck?
first 4-color deck. Yeah.
Oh, is it?
Uh-huh.
Was that difficult?
I
Or not as much?
I proxied the mana base. It wasn't difficult. It's just the money, the budget's the only concern. But I proxied the mana base and it was fine. Like I know how to build a mana base because I've played tons of other formats.
Sure.
And so it was really just only budget constraints. I just never done it yet because I don't know. Maybe I'm just recently getting into proxying, printing pieces of paper for my Magic cards instead.
Well, when you're rich like me and can spend a whole $60 on cards.
Well, are you going to be spending $100 on the new Commander decks? the new pre-constructed commander decks. You like that? Wizards of the Coast. They're not the bad guys. They don't have MSRP anymore. So stores can charge whatever they want for those decks.
They have to pay for the decks and then mark them up, and then
they have distributor costs still. Like, why not just base MSRP off of that? But
yeah, I had heard about the set coming out, and I was like, it didn't get me. Like, I'm so new to Magic that them coming out with this new deck was like, whatever. I don't like know anything about it, right? Like, I know stuff about Lord of the Rings. I know stuff about like the Warhammer stuff. I knew stuff about the new one coming out with the Doctor
Who coming out. Yeah,
like those are like, oh, okay, I can wrap my mind around those, which is the point of those sets, right?
Yeah.
Bringing the people in. But for me to like get like random cards, it's like, yay! What does that do?
Yeah, the set is
like,
all reprints, and so it harkens back to just Magic the Gathering story.
Yeah.
So it's like, we're seeing lots of old characters or old cards getting reprints, which is cool if that brings the price down. And then they have 4 new pre-constructed commander decks, and each of those I believe has 10 brand new cards in it actually. So everything else in the whole set is reprints. Tons of new arts and whatever.
So there's 40 new cards that they're creating.
Yeah, 40 new cards, and then the 300 something reprints in the main set, as well as the decks themselves will have some reprints too.
Sure.
Obviously, not just basic lands and 10 cards. So
it'd be pretty broken 10 cards if you could do it all with 90 lands and 10 cards.
Well, you better be good.
But so you sent us the group text a message today saying that we shouldn't waste our money on the $80 MSRP or whatever.
Yeah, because they're spoiling the deck lists for them this week. I mean, by the time this video comes out, they'll already all be out. But we're halfway through. We know what 2 of the decks are. And I held my breath yesterday. Yesterday was pretty bad, and some content creators were already taking to the internet and storm. But I held my breath. I wanted to see today's, but it's the same story. So
they've released all 4 of the lists.
Just two.
So 4. Yesterday was one. Today was another. Tomorrow's another.
Yeah, Thursday. Yep.
Before.
But they have Wizards of the Coast has just said that this is a premium set, premium product, so prices are going to be a little higher. They announced earlier this year that inflation, prices are going to go up a little bit, so there's been a couple price increases, but there's still no MSRP.
In all fairness, if like inflation is a thing,
yeah, totally.
Fine. Okay, I can get on board with that. If it is a premium product, you should charge more for a premium product.
You charge more for premium if the value is there.
If the value, yeah. Like, I'm not going to spend $200,000 on a Ford Fiesta, but I'll spend $200,000 on a Lamborghini or Ferrari, right?
Yeah, or whatever else people spend $200,000 on. I don't know.
Guns.
A house? Not in this market. Anyway, so seeing 2 of these deck lists, I don't think the value's there.
Really?
And if you look at it like right now and just compare the 100 cards in the deck to the, like, let's say average $100 price tag or whatever, all the decks are a little bit different, but they're all 80 minimum. From what I've seen, I don't think anybody's selling them for less than that. For the $100 price tag, technically it says it's higher, but that's because of the new cards, which their pre-order prices are never accurate. They always settle out a week or 2 after they physically get into people's hands. And some of the reprints in the deck list yesterday specifically was a sliver deck. And like 3 or 4 of the reprints, people were like, oh, these are like $5 or $10 cards. Like, oh, that's some good value. They're only $5 or $10 because they've never been reprinted, not because they're good. Mm-hmm. So they're not going to hold that value.
It's because of the supply, not the demand.
Yeah, they're going to tank immediately as soon as these hit shelves. I mean, if people are buying them. But anyway, the value is not actually there. No way. They had another deck list today. It's like Planeswalker themed, which is kind of cool. I have a Planeswalker deck.
Yeah.
So I was excited to see, like, oh, are there any other maybe like pieces I can pick up or some good reprints? They do have like one good reprint. It's like $30 in there. And then the rest of the deck is just like meh. They have like one land that's like $10. But I'm like, that's not even the rest of all the chaff doesn't even equal up to like $80 for buying this deck, and I know you're never going to be able to get it less for like 60. Like maybe your LGS takes pity and they start selling them for 60 in a few weeks. But
LGS is local game store.
Local game store. Sorry, yeah. I've heard distributor prices were like $56. Like people are posting online, like game store owners on Reddit or whatever. They're like, yeah, distributor prices were like $56.
Do game stores have to purchase a certain amount of them to be?
Yes, I believe so.
I was gonna say we should just create a game store and just buy them for distributor prices.
Buy them for the cheaper prices. I've thought about doing that with Warhammer too, but there are certain connections for Warhammer as well. You got to have licensing and whatever to be an official store in order to get access to that. Yeah. Otherwise, yes. Welcome to the 5G game store.
I mean, I would seriously like it, depending on what the number of decks you have to order is to like qualify.
Yeah.
Like, we know some people who play Magic.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think you have to be consistent as well. You have to order like in each set.
I mean,
to keep it up, which it's always new cards to play with. It's fun.
Yeah, and then just sell the other ones on eBay.
Yeah, exactly.
Fix the marketplace or
resell.
whatever.
Or sell them. Yeah, because we're a store.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I'm not too impressed so far with, like, it's gonna be a cool set for reprints and maybe some of these new cards in the Commander decks.
Yeah.
Buy them individually. That's cool. I already saw one where I was like, oh, that one's kind of cool for my Planeswalker deck. I might end up getting that. But the rest of it just no. It's not worth buying the pre-con, the full deck. I think you can buy all of those cards individually and
be cheaper.
And it'd be cheaper.
Especially
not financial advice.
Especially after the release of the decks.
Yeah. Prices always go down. Even if you wanted that deck right at release, whatever, I understand, but order it online, it takes 7 days to get to you. Like, you can wait 7 days.
Yeah. Interesting.
If you only play once a week with your Magic group anyway, I mean.
Yeah, and we're lucky if we play once a week.
Yeah.
You know? And now the games are getting really long.
Yeah.
But too many board wipes.
Too many board wipes.
We should make a deck rule one time where we all create a new deck, but there's no board wipes.
Oh, jeez.
No board wipes allowed.
None.
Be interesting.
Yeah. Immediately out.
Or everyone has to have at least like one Teferi's protection.
You get one free Teferi's protection at any point in the game.
Yeah.
You can just pull from outside.
Yeah.
Now, we did budget Commander once. I've tried the no board wipe thing. Just because on a budget, I mean, you really have to stretch for board wipes.
Yeah.
So, or again, you find some weird asymmetrical ones.
I have a couple in my ninja deck that were not too expensive. They're not amazing.
They're getting better. They're not certainly getting better with more reprints.
Yeah. But I have more counter spells in my ninja deck than I do board wipes.
That's better. I would probably, again, depending on the deck, it's more important or less important, but one of my bubbles on the web should be protection.
Yeah.
Especially if it's a like a Voltron deck where your whole deck is built around your commander, it's built around one card, you've got to protect that. Or if it's combo, you got to protect your combo pieces, and counter spells fit into that bubble perfectly. It's just that only blue has access to them, so sometimes you gotta get creative in other colors.
Counter spell. Cross out blue, put white.
It's white pips now. Yep.
Very good. Yeah. Let's talk about the, I think we talked about it last time. Maybe the time before. I don't remember. They started to run together now. But, The Witcher. Season 3.
Season 3.
I, was skeptical. Doubted their ability to produce a third season that was good because the second season was abysmal.
And this is the last one with Henry Cavill.
Yep. Although I think they're doing a 2-part season.
Oh, yes. I heard they're releasing the second part like in a month or something.
Oh, it's not that far away.
Yeah. They've already filmed it all.
Gotcha. Because I watched the first section of it.
Okay. It's like 5 episodes right now, I think.
5 or 6.
5 or 6, okay.
Yeah. I don't remember if it was 5 or 6.
I didn't watch it, obviously. Didn't watch it yet.
And, the first season, like we've covered before, first season, good, right?
Yeah.
Second season, dog doo-doo.
It's not good.
The third season, in my opinion,
Drum
is better than the first.
better than the first.
Now, let me qualify that answer.
Okay, got some stipulations.
The reason I personally think it's better than the first is because I am new to this world of The Witcher. I've never played the games, never read the books, never done anything like that, right? So the first few episodes of the first season where they're jumping all over time and stuff like that. Yeah,
time skips.
I was like, what in the freak is going on? But the storyline was good enough where I was like, okay, I can figure this out.
Yeah.
This third season, the storyline is linear, more or less.
Yeah.
I think there might be a little bit of time jumping, but not like crazy. Mm-hmm. It's like, it's good. It's very good. You understand I didn't. You know how like they always do like last season on this show.
Yeah,
I skipped
recap.
That because I didn't want to rewatch that.
I don't need to know that.
And it took me a minute or two to try to like. They were doing stuff, and I was like, okay, why are they doing this? What's going on? Okay? Oh, let me pull the dredges of my memory.
I need a brief recap, but I won't watch theirs.
No, because I don't want to relive all the bullcrap.
Yeah.
Because if it's important, I'll remember it.
Sure.
And they never show you the important stuff in the recaps.
In the recaps,
they always show you this fluff, and it's like
the drama and the cliffhangers.
Yeah. This episode, these 5 or 6 or whatever episodes, were really good. Really good.
Okay.
And definitely worth a watch. They still have this random storyline with the elves.
I'm sure, and then probably back with like the mages or whatever doing politics.
But that actually is
comes to the front now.
It is.
Okay, that's fine.
And it's so
it's just the dumb elves in the background doing whatever.
Yeah, and like there's like some stuff with them where they kind of do some stuff, and like you kind of see where it's like, okay, I can kind of maybe see where this is going,
maybe
but like
this is relevant.
It's kind of annoying still.
Or we've got the second part, so maybe that comes up, but
the first part though was good and worth the watch.
Thumbs up.
I would recommend.
Okay.
And then
I haven't seen it yet, only because Netflix started to crack down on password sharing. I get Netflix from my brother, so can't watch it now.
Rough.
Unless I sign up for Netflix.
Yuck.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I use my parents still.
Okay, but you're on.
Yeah.
I don't know how they do it. I was trying to ask my brother. It's something like you got to put your home IP, your home address, or something on your Netflix account, and that's how they know.
Oh,
that's wild. They're tracking you.
Go away.
Go lay down.
But I wonder if you do it with a VPN.
Maybe.
And like VPN into his.
I don't even know if you need a Netflix account. You just have a VPN.
Just Tor router it.
Just be like, I am in Europe now.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. But
yeah, so I'll watch it eventually. Maybe when the second part comes out, I'll sub and try to get like a free trial for 7 days or something. Or
yeah, just binge it.
My brother recommended. He's like, oh, you can come over and we'll just watch it all in one day.
I will say, I watched it at 1.5 speed.
Oh yeah,
because they talk so slow in that show.
Speed of the conversations. Yeah.
Actually, I might have watched it at 1.25.
Netflix is one of my favorites. I mean, Netflix and YouTube. That they have those features because I can't do anything less than 1.25 at least. If there's good action going on, I'll slow it down. I'll watch it at 1. I'm like, oh, there's some cool choreography. But if they're just talking, 1.5. Like,
I was watching YouTube the other day. And I kept clicking on the little gear wheel and checking the speed I was watching at because I was like,
I'm falling asleep.
Dude, I could not watch this show if it was at like I could easily watch what I was watching at like 4 times the speed.
That almost, I would argue, isn't worth the watch then.
I didn't finish.
Yeah, there you go.
I was watching and I was like, do I care enough about this to keep watching? And it was like a 25-minute video, so it was like a reasonable time commitment.
Yeah.
But only 12 minutes on 2 times speed.
It's pretty good.
But like I was like, and it was a very interesting video and topic.
But they just talk slow.
But they were talking so slow, and there was nothing in the background for me to watch. They were just talking. They were pointing at something. It was a gun video.
Oh yeah.
I was learning some obscure thing about some obscure thing.
Sure.
I don't remember exactly what it was
There's
because I didn't finish the video.
Layers of obscurity.
There was. It was an obscure. It was a gunsmithing video, and so it was an obscure. It was an obscure process for chambering and rifling this rifle with an obscure cartridge
Oh, okay.
and obscure European tooling.
Interesting.
I was on a rabbit hole.
Yeah.
This is like video number 17 that I had like just like
three in the morning of like
not quite 3, but like
keep clicking.
yeah, it was getting pretty late.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I was like, it's time for me to go there.
That's interesting. Yeah, I don't know why other streaming services don't have that speed up yet.
I don't know. I also think it's really annoying when streaming services don't just come out with all of their episodes at once.
Yeah, there's no reason for that. We're not cable TV anymore.
It's like, yeah, we're devolving into cable TV again. It's like, if I want to watch cable, I buy cable.
I wonder if statistically they thought that, like, if they think that gets more viewers or something. I don't know. Or they can prolong the hype, prolong the social media interaction.
I think it is the opposite now.
Yeah.
I think
you think it turns people away?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's like, okay, this show is going to come out every Friday. If they did it once a day, like one episode a day for like a week and a half, I think that would be way better for them.
Interesting.
Because did you finish House of the Dragon?
No.
Did you finish Halo?
Nope.
Did you finish
what
what other shows are there that did this?
Came out one episode at a time.
Did you see The Citadel on Amazon?
I saw it advertised, and then I probably saw it a week later, and they were like, episode 2 now streaming.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay. If you saw a banner pop up on Amazon that said, watch episode or season 1 of The Citadel now.
Click.
And you would be like, okay, I'm going to watch the first episode. I will attest. That show was pretty good.
It was pretty good, yeah.
I watched the entire thing. But I watched the first episode, and then I was like, oh, great. I'm just, like, I had some time. I was like, I'll watch the second episode. Second episode comes out in a week. And I was like, well, this is dumb. So guess what I did? I waited for a month and a half, and then watched the entire season in one Saturday afternoon.
There you go, yep.
So, if streaming services who are obviously listening to this podcast, if you want a good idea, you create a good show, has to be a good show, and have it, the first episode come out Sunday night, and then do 14 episodes, and the finale comes out Sunday or Saturday night of 2 weeks later.
That's interesting.
And I guarantee, like, if there was a good show that, like, was advertised, and it's like, oh, this is going to be, like, you know, whatever TV show you want to name, like, the TV show, like Game of Thrones was, right?
Yeah.
Would you not sit down every single night at dinner or, like, after dinner and watch that with
if it was, like, it dropped every evening at 6 or whatever.
Yeah, it's like Eastern.
I can guess. There's something to say about consistency. Like, I'm trying to see both sides. Because, you know, cable, obviously, they didn't have the capabilities to do every night. And streaming, obviously, we know there's no reason why they couldn't just release the whole thing at once.
I just think
I have to think it's because of the interaction. It's because of the social media, the whatever. Because if you think about back in cable days, like, I don't know, like Lost or whatever. We were too young for that, but it's like Lost was like a big show on cable that aired every Wednesday at 7 or whatever.
Yeah.
And it's, people go to work the next day and they're talking about the episode because it was that big, it was that common. I'm not knocking your every night idea because I'd like that, or just all at once.
Or all at once. I think that going back to weekly releases of one episode, especially for like a small series, like if your TV show is 8 episodes, why are you not just releasing that all at once? Why are you making them wait 8 weeks for a TV show?
Yeah.
If it's like Grey's Anatomy, where each season is like 21 episodes,
whatever, it's
like, okay.
And you don't have an overarching story, not really.
But if you're
you're a sitcom, so you can do once a week.
If you're Halo, or House of the Dragon, or whatever, Peaky Blinders, or whatever else, right? Just drop them all at once, or I will say, I don't love it, but the half and half.
The 2 halves, sure.
Not a bad Not a bad way to do it.
Yeah, you can at least binge each half when it comes out.
Not a bad way to do it.
We're certainly in the binge culture, and so it's really interesting. I'm trying to think. A lot of animes still do like the old TV schedule. They still do once a week, even though like I don't think that's airing in Japan on TV anywhere. I mean, that's where it all started. Like growing up watching anime. So oh yeah, it's every day after school,
Yeah.
and every week, there were new episodes. You'd catch reruns on Saturdays, like. But now everything is just posted online, so it's why you don't need to follow cable schedules.
That is interesting.
But yeah, anime never swapped. To my knowledge, I've never seen one that
But
just
there's not
dropped
really
everything.
a streaming service for anime, right? There's like
Yeah,
the sites that
there's a
do
couple
it.
big ones, but
The one that's
Crunchyroll does one, and then Funimation is a big enough studio where they have all of their animes under one. They do Dragon Ball Z.
Crunchyroll Funimation.
Oh, well, there you go. They just absorbed him, so they did not used to.
But they because they haven't ever changed, they didn't like set a precedent. Whereas
Yeah,
Netflix, Amazon, and the other, they were dropping seasons at a time.
Yeah.
And then everyone was like, "This is great." But like, even HBO, they were doing episodes with.
Yeah, because they were a TV channel
because
first.
they've always done episodes,
Uh-huh.
right? And then I think they've started to drop. It's kind of like half and half. They drop one season.
It depends.
Or they drop, yeah.
I'm watching one right now. I just caught up literally before you came over, and I'm only in episode 5 of the new season. And
What is it?
It's called Warrior. It's pretty sick. Me and my older brother, we like a lot of like martial arts movies, Asian flicks. And this is a TV show on HBO loosely based off of the writings of Bruce Lee. So I think it's like his grandfather, because it's set in San Francisco in like the 1880s.
Oh,
Yeah, so it's post-Civil War, but there's a lot
but
of
like Western.
yeah, it's semi-lawless or at least super corrupt. And it's in Chinatown in San Francisco, and them dealing with like tons of racism, even though they're like some of them have immigrated there. They've set up Chinatown. They've been there long enough where some of them have been born there.
Interesting.
And then you have like the police aspect, and then you also have the Irish who have been there longer than the Chinese, and so they're like trying to get their dues or whatever. Which is kind of funny because they were probably in a similar scenario a couple decades before that. But so it's a lot of cool like what's the word I'm looking for? Connections. There's a lot of different characters and motivations, and it's semi-lawless, so nobody's really good. Everybody's kind of a little bad.
It's Waterdeep.
Yeah, it's Waterdeep. Everybody's got their own motivations. Even the cops, or there's like one good cop character you see by the end of like season 2, like he gave up being a cop. He's like, I can't do it. Like it had corrupted him to the point where he's just like, you can't win. There's no way to win.
Interesting.
So I'm out. But aside from all that, like it's kind of cool seeing all the interactions going on. There's tons of good fighting, tons of good martial arts in the show, and it's insane. I love it. They have I forget his name. He's one of Hollywood's big like martial arts stunt coordinator. I mean, like is a martial artist. He's an actor in the show. The main character is also pretty high up there. And this season they just brought in like the other big Hollywood martial arts director, a guy, and so it's cool. Like their fight scenes are on point. They have tons of just like big mob fights, where the main characters are taking on like 7 guys at once, or they'll have cool 1v1 like duels. Like it's pretty sick. I enjoy it. Seeing lots of Chinese like martial arts.
It's called Warrior.
Warrior.
I have to watch that.
It's pretty good.
I have to watch
Season 3 will probably be done by the time you catch up. They have seasons 1 and 2 have been out. They took a pretty large break for COVID, so I'm excited to see they had new episodes.
Yeah, there's some other shows that I need to keep watching. I have a bunch of shows on my list that I need to keep watching, but
I've got a bunch. I have a hard time like some shows I need to sit down and watch because it's like I need to focus on them, and it's like I want to do something else at the same time.
yeah,
I don't have time to really sit down and watch shows right now.
that's what I use YouTube for.
Yeah.
It's just if I want to learn something on YouTube, I make a playlist of those videos, and if I want to just chill out, I just make a playlist. Like you make like the temporary watch list or whatever, I make a watch list of those random whatever videos.
See, and then sometimes by the end of the night, I've run out of YouTube algorithms. There's no more good videos there. So I'm just like,
true.
That's when I should just like pick up a new show and
Yeah.
finish it or whatever. But
Yeah, that's true. Sometimes like you go in, you've like watched all the new videos for the day.
yeah,
You've gone back a couple days and you're scraping the bottom of the barrel,
Right.
and you're like,
I like YouTube because I'm like, oh, these are shorter videos. They're only like 10 to 20 minutes I have to commit, but then I'll watch 8 of them. It's like I could have just watched 2 episodes of a show or whatever.
yeah,
but-
you're lucky if you only watch 8.
Yeah. Maybe a bad example.
There have been Sundays or whatever where I'll get home from church and like, all right, yeah, I'm just gonna have lunch and watch a few YouTube videos, and then I'll go
relax.
do something, And it's like 6 o'clock by the time I'm done watching YouTube.
Oh,
I'm like,
stop dinner. Whoops.
Well, so yeah. Alrighty, let us. I think that is we have one more topic.
One more.
One more.
The big one.
Tell me what the diminishing one.
The small one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Getting smaller.
Yeah.
So.
Started making some small jokes. It's fun.
All right. So let's preface this like.
Yeah,
this.
yeah, yeah.
Let's say part of this podcast and our kind of the things we wanted to talk about were some of our goals in life.
Yeah, that's one of the G's.
It is the fourth one.
4G, 5Gs. Goals.
And we'll do an episode about just that.
Yeah,
I think
totally.
We plan on doing an episode on each of the 5, just to have them. But one of your goals has been to
Lose weight.
and
Big surprise, I know. I am overweight. I don't know if you knew this about me. Oh, yes, what?
Indubitably. And so you have
Started.
take it away.
So yeah. Started a new diet plan, and stop me if I start rambling. But
I will not.
oh, good. All right. Yeah, started a new diet plan. I've been a little, I guess, hush hush about it because I didn't know if I was gonna drop it after 4 days.
As of the classic.
Yeah, or if it was even gonna do anything. So I've been on it for a month.
Month and a little bit now.
Yeah, 5 weeks now, I think. I'm tracking. I weigh in every Monday, so
You only weigh in every Monday.
I just keep it consistent so I can confirm that like I'm losing weight. Like I'll weigh in every Monday, just kind of at the same time, right after my morning dump. So so it's the same.
Sure.
Yeah, because it's like your weight can fluctuate throughout the day or from day to day.
Throughout the week as well.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm tracking the consistent loss every week, rather than get held up on the highs and lows from day to day. But it has been working out. It's a pretty neat diet. I'd say the big preface, the one thing that stopped me, because I've known about it for a few months, was the budget. I just didn't think I'd have the budget for this. We had some things come through where I was like, all right, I think we're living comfortably enough where I can do this. Especially because it did kind of cut the grocery bill down a little bit. But I'm paying for tons of, they call them fuelings on the program. It's Optavia. It's the name of the diet. I think they're a Medifast company. But basically, yeah, I buy these boxes of fuelings, and then the program, the diet that I stick to is, they call it a 5+1. So instead of your breakfast, lunch, dinner, I have 6 meals a day, and 5 of them are fuelings that I'm buying from these boxes, and then the 1 is a lean and green. So it's 5 to 7 ounces of lean protein and like 3 servings of green low carb vegetables. So like not potatoes. Otherwise, I would just eat like 3 potatoes. But
yeah, this is definitely my veggies.
This is a great diet.
Veggies, and
Potato chips.
And this is my veggies and protein. It's pre-baked potatoes and a steak.
Yep. I can't have steak still, which is good. That was one of my things going into any diet. It was like, I still want to be able to eat food. And it's,
you don't want to be a rabbit.
Yes, and I look forward to the lean and green every day. It's pretty good because you get a good amount of meat. And some of the greens aren't all that bad. It is a lot of salad. But I think maybe if I was better at cooking, I could get more creative with squashes and cabbage and
Ugh, can't stand squashes.
all the fancy names of all the like the Asian ones, like the
Bok
choy
choy.
and the endives or whatever. I don't know.
I don't know that one. I just know bok choy.
There's a whole list. I'm like, oh, cucumbers. I'll stick with that one and just munch on a cucumber. But it's been pretty cool. The little fuelings that I eat, they're all about like 100 calories. The point of the diet puts me at this calorie deficit.
And like significant calorie deficit.
Yeah, it is pretty significant. So it's like it's not recommended for everybody, or stop if it starts affecting you. But
yeah, it's not for people who need to lose like 20 pounds.
Yeah, no. And it's like I'm not doing heavy exercises right now because I don't think I have the energy to. So every one of the fuelings they're all different, but it's a collection of bars and shakes and random little crunchy snacks. Sometimes I microwave them, like the desserts and stuff, or the mashed potatoes you saw me eat.
I did.
They're all about 100 calories, but they all taste pretty good. There's one or two that have been like chocolate mint crisp bar, and I'm like, hate mint. And this tastes even worse because it's like, I don't know,
It's fake.
It's not milk chocolate, so to cover up all the mint
Debbie
flavor.
chocolate.
Yeah, yeah. Or there was another one or two that was pretty gross. Again, the sweet potatoes, I think they're like fake sweet potatoes. You just like you make sweet potato mash. It's like soy. A lot of them are just kind of like soy, but slightly different flavors of soy. But it is working. I'm losing weight, so.
So you've lost how much?
I told you last week, 30 pounds. Yesterday was Monday. I just weighed myself again. I'm down another 5 pounds. So
Jeez.
35 pounds in 5 weeks.
So you're averaging like 7 pounds a week.
Mm-hmm. It's pretty good.
That's sick.
I don't know if I've personally noticed yet, like as far as appearance goes, but I've had a couple people say comments. My wife has been like, "Oh yeah, no, like totally." And I'm like, "Okay." That's why I started making the small jokes around it. It's kind of funny.
Yeah.
It's like, "Oh, there's less of me to love now," or whatever. Or, will you still love me as much? Things like that. But I don't know, again, I don't know if I feel any different physically, and I don't think I look differently all that much yet. But the scale doesn't lie, so
Yeah.
I'll keep with it.
Have you noticed I think I asked you this before, but have you noticed like your cravings dissipating or?
Yeah. For the most part, the first like few days are tough. It's kind of what they advertised. There's a whole MLM, multi-level marketing. So I've got a coach or whatever who sold me on it, and he gets some of the kickback of all the food I buy. But they teach you that the first like 3 days are pretty rough as you get your body into the fat burning mode. I don't think that's as scientific as it really is, but fat burning mode. Claim. Yeah. But and then for the first week it was kind of tough, but then after that, like, cravings aren't super common. Every now and then I'll get like a little hungry, or if I'm like, especially like as I'm waiting for the lean and green. Mostly the kind of the late morning to afternoon's kind of the worst. Like around my normal lunchtime, where I'm like, oh, I kind of want some more food. But there's little tricks. There's like, because the diet's so formulated down to the amount of carbs and fats that you can have, and so there's like low to zero carb options you can have just like snack on. So like sugar-free gum actually gets rid of your cravings pretty good, or like celery, which it's just water. So.
No one needs celery in their lives.
No. I started with celery on the diet, but even now I'm like, I'll go with the cucumber, thanks. At least the cucumber has flavor.
Doesn't taste like dirt water.
It's just water and cellulose. Plant fiber.
I love trees.
I'm above that now. Only lettuce and cucumber for me. But the cravings are not all that bad. Again, health-wise, I think feels fine so far. So
that's cool.
I've been enjoying it, and it's been cool to like kind of have the willpower to resist things a little bit.
Yeah, for sure.
Part of being on a diet is just like, hey Trevor, you want a corn dog? And I'm like, no thanks.
Well, I was very impressed because on the bachelor party, the three of us pigged out. Like, I'm sure I gained like 70 pounds.
As you do, like that's what you do on a bros getaway.
I mean, you didn't even have one Oreo.
Mm-mm.
one Dorito chip. You were very, very structured and strict.
I'm setting my mind to a thing.
You cooked your blueberry muffin thing that one night, and all of us were so confused at what you were eating. We're like, "What is that?" I thought it was more potatoes.
Yeah.
Because you just had potatoes earlier that night.
Mm-hmm.
No.
Yeah, that afternoon.
Yeah. And so I was like, is that like a potato? What is that? But it like smells sweet. But I was like, but is it like just like the fakeness of it? That's just
baked potato.
No, it was a blueberry muffin.
Yeah, blueberry muffin. A lot of the desserts are just like easy bake ovens. My sisters were young, just like, oh, you get some brownie mix and some water, boop, boop, boop. You put it in the microwave for a minute, and ta-da, dessert.
They taste pretty okay though.
Yeah, a lot of desserts are all right, and they're like everything's pretty quick. The longest one is like a little mini pasta dish thing. Sometimes I'll have that like around lunchtime to sort of tide me over till dinner time, but that one takes maybe a total of like 8 minutes between the microwave and cooling down. So
that's very cool. So what is your, since it's a goal thing,
it's a
let's
goal.
talk about the goals aspect of it. What is your goal? Like how long, like you gonna do this for like 10 years or like maybe another 6 months?
Yeah, I'm thinking 3 months minimum. That's kind of my idea. I'm gonna wait to see kind of what my weight loss sort of stagnates at, if it gets down to an average of like 5 pounds a week or whatever. I expect it to slow down, but I'd like to do 3 months minimum and at least reevaluate. I've told you before, I don't have like a strict number I'm set on, like, I want to get to 280 or whatever. It seems pretty good. 285 is what I wrestled at in high school, so I'm kind of eyeballing that number. I'd like to lose a shirt size. That'd be cool, I think. Down to a 2X again. But yeah, at least 3 months, and then I'll reevaluate from there. So
yeah,
and pick a new diet after that, probably.
Maybe
and
more
calories so I can have more energy, start going to the gym, build some muscle back.
Yeah. Because most people probably don't know this, that you and I both wrestled in high school.
That's right.
And we were the big boys on the team.
The heavyweights.
And I was barely a heavyweight.
And I was on the top end of the heavyweights.
Yeah, I was trying to gain weight, and you were trying to lose weight and get into the bracket. And I was weighing in at, I think senior year, I was actually into the weight category.
Like 220?
Well, because the base of it is 220, right?
Yeah.
So I was at 235 at the end of wrestling season my senior year.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
But then junior year,
I remember you were struggling to get up above 220.
I think it was like 210 most of the season.
Yeah, but you just wrestled up.
Yeah, but we had some significant muscle mass.
Uh-huh.
I mean, you have to move around those other big boys.
You have to, yeah.
I mean, just freaking pushing against another 280-pound guy is like.
It's a random wrestling tangent since we're on the topic of, maybe I've told you this before. My dad wrestled in high school.
Yeah.
Up in Wyoming. And back then, I don't know if it was a standardized like high school league, across the country, but the rules were a little different. My dad also wrestled heavyweights. He's a big guy like me.
He's really big dude. So
yeah, and but in high school he wrestled anything 180 and above was heavyweights. Back in the 80s, for some reason.
What the heck?
And my dad was like 180 something pounds, 190, but there was no weight maximum.
Oh,
so 285s was heavyweights. I had to be under 285 in high school. My dad was like, yeah, I had to wrestle like 400-pound Native American kids and just get squished.
Yeah, that's a bug smush.
Smashed. And he's like,
like a Tom and Jerry cartoon.
How is this fair? Somebody's going to die.
It's not going to be that.
It's probably going to be me. He was like, yeah, that sounds like a different time.
Yeah. I know that they've thought about, at least I've heard once upon a time, I don't even know if this is actually true or not, but I'm going to say it anyway, like I'm confident.
Sure.
That they were talking about putting in a super heavyweight class for high school so that you could, and then it would be 285 and above.
Just anything above, yeah. Interesting. No
But,
limit.
Yeah. So that'd be very cool to get back down to 285 and
I'd like, I think
put
at
on
least,
some more muscle.
At least 280, or like as an idea of like, maybe 250.
And then build muscle back up.
Yeah, then if I build muscle up to 280 and I can just live at that my whole life,
I mean, if you were 280, it was like...
That's a good goal.
Good amount of muscle. be looking
I'd be a
chonk.
friggin' NFL player at
Yeah,
that point.
you'd be a refrigerator.
Uh-huh. So,
Yeah,
that'd be
so
fun.
that's my goal as well. Is I need to lose some poundage.
Lose some.
Yeah, my heaviest ever was 305.
Yeah, and you're...
And then I got down. Told you this story.
Uh-huh.
But I got down
200.
in December. I was 245.
Oh, okay.
And I was still, trying to lose weight and stuff like that. And then some crap happened, and I thought I was employed and was not employed.
Haven't had a job for a while, and so
went through that, and was eating my sorrows away, and now I'm back up to like 285, and went up the shirt size
went
again.
Up the shirt size,
from
yeah.
the XL to the 2X, and yeah, but I'm we're working on it.
Sure.
But that's the goals, right?
That's the goals part.
Yeah, I think I would like to be. I think 200 or maybe 190 is like where I would feel the best.
Yeah, I gotcha.
But if I had like more muscle, I think maybe 215, 220 wouldn't be bad. But
That makes sense. 220s.
I think Caleb around 220.
That sounds about right. Yeah.
He's looking stocky and good. So,
Got all muscle on him. So.
but I also don't want to do what he does.
No, yeah. I don't want a powerlifting body. No thanks.
Well, I would be okay with like that. I want to do some cardio.
Oh, yeah.
Because I don't want to do like 3 lifts and then I'm exhausted for the day.
Done,
I'd
yeah.
like to get back to where I could do like, the wrestling stuff. Maybe not that intense because that sucked.
Yeah.
But like senior year, I could run at 235 pounds. I ran a 7.5 minute mile.
Yeah, that's good.
Which is,
Impressive.
I mean, not fast by any means, but certainly not slow.
No,
Especially at 235 pounds.
I don't think I ever got under 11. So. And that was my first mile. My second mile was like 20 minutes at that point.
I remember in junior high, the first time I ran the mile, I was like, I'm going to die. And it was like a 12-minute mile. It's like a brisk walk. In 7th grade.
Yep.
A pudgy little 7th grader, like, never walked more than a half a mile.
Right.
Or a mile or whatever.
Well, I remember, wrestling when we had to run. What did we call it? The
canals?
Yeah, the canals. Was that 4 miles or close to it?
So it depended. There was one leg.
Yeah, just the half of it was 2.
One leg was 2 miles. Was 2 miles, and then 2 legs of it was 4 miles.
Yeah, that's right. The one, at least one of the times we had to do 4 miles, and Coach would ride behind us on the bike. He would just like ride with me for a bit until he got bored. He's like, "All right, Morgan, I'll meet you back there. Like, take me with you."
Yeah, I remember those canals sucked, and then we would run them in the mornings.
Yep.
And morning practice was brutal, man.
Gotta wake up and have energy.
I'd be so tired. We had to be to school at before 5:30 because practice started at 5:30.
Started
if we
at
were
5:30.
late, you got destroyed.
Yep.
So we'd be there at 5:15 or whatever, get changed into your
dressed.
stuff, and have all your school stuff with you.
Yeah, 'cause
and
you
to change the clothes for the day.
You just had to go to school after, so.
And then I had A hour.
Work out for an hour 15, and then shower off, get dressed, back to A hour for normal school.
Half of those days, I barely got dressed.
Yeah.
I would like throw on a different pair of gym shorts and a t-shirt. Like I'd shower off in the showers and then like throw on a different pair of shorts and t-shirt and then like my slides.
Yeah.
And I'd go to and then I'd slowly get like dressed throughout the day. Like go into the bathroom, I'd like put real shoes on.
Varying degrees of clothing on. Yeah.
Yeah, but I was dude. Those morning practices killed me. I remember we had a seminary class.
Yes.
Together that year.
Yeah,
one of those years. Junior year?
First hour too. So
it was first hour, but I had A hour and you didn't. And so I would give you the keys to my car and you would go sleep in the car on occasion.
Wow, I don't remember that. I thought I had A hour too. That's hilarious.
No, I don't think you did.
That year, yeah.
I don't think you did because I'm pretty sure I gave you the keys to my car a couple times.
At least, yeah. No, I remember that at least once, yeah.
And but I remember there was a bunch of wrestlers in that seminary class,
and we were falling asleep.
And all of us were like, "All right, well."
Let's take seats in the back of the room and
head on the Bible.
Oh yeah, it was really good, really insightful.
I am just praying like Moses did.
Right. For 40 days, 40 nights, or whatever.
Yeah, we were all tired.
That was bad.
And then practice at night. There was a couple days I remember where I would be at school for over 12 hours.
Yeah, Which, looking back on it now, you're like, this is worse than a full-time job.
Yeah, especially because it's school and then torture.
Yeah.
Well, exercise, like
Physical
a
exercise.
workout, school, and then torture.
Torture was afterwards. Yeah.
Like, after school, which is already mostly torturous, you get actually tortured. Like, I'm pretty sure half the stuff is against the Geneva Convention, what we did.
Yeah.
Like, do you remember those times where they would have to, like, we were running sprints at the end of practice, so it's a 3-hour practice, and the last 30 minutes is like, all right, we're just going to run sprints for 30 minutes.
of
varying degrees of horrendousness.
Of intensity.
It's like, oh yeah, we're doing like a one, what would they call it, 1x1? Or what are they, a 1 in 10?
Yeah, circuits or something.
A 1 in 10 where you had to do one sprint in 10 seconds. It's like, oh, that's easy, right? Yeah, then it's like, oh yeah, the next one's a 2 in 20. Okay, so 2 sprints in 20 seconds. Not bad.
Sure.
And this is, 60 feet one way, 60 feet the other way. It's like 50 yards or, I don't know, total or something like that.
If
right?
that, yeah.
I don't know. Something like that.
How many bald eagles was it? Probably 13?
It was definitely like 120 burgers.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And, maybe 75 hot dogs.
I believe that, yeah.
But, so not like super long sprints, but not like short sprints. And then all of a sudden, it's like, oh yeah, we're doing 6 and 60s. Or there was one time we did 12 and 120s.
Oh man, I think
that was senior year when you weren't.
Oh, okay.
I
was like, I don't remember that one.
Yeah,
because even on the 6 and 60s, like I was dead, and coach was like, dude, just finish it. Like I'm not worried about the heaviest guy on the team doing it in time.
No, yeah, because it was if you didn't make it, you ran it again.
You ran it again, yeah.
And coach was a little bit more generous with us bigger folks.
Yes. It was like just finish it.
Well,
whereas if some 120-pound dude can't make it, hey, run it again.
But yeah, there was one time where I didn't make 2 of them in a row, and coach was like, "We're running them again," and I was like, "Son of a whore."
Yeah, I can't complain.
That suck. I made them usually made them at like the last second.
What was the one?
Strip matters?
Yes. Is that the one where you sprinted?
You sprint there and back.
Then it was bear crawl there
and back, and then
baby crawl, dude.
People are like baby crawl. Yeah, that is brutal.
Baby crawl as fast as you can.
It wrecks your abs.
And you had 45 seconds, I think. You got
for the 6.
You had a little bit.
Which is crazy, because it's. Or I guess it's 3 sprints. It would be 3 sprints, but you're bear crawling down and back, and then baby crawling down and back.
Trying to like get your knees to move fast.
And yeah, if you like went on your toes, it was like you're doing it again, bud.
Disqualify.
Yeah, those suck. There was one time. This might have been junior year. We did double strip matters.
Yeah, that sucks.
Where it was sprint, bear crawl, baby crawl, sprint,
bear
crawl, baby crawl.
Dude, because by the end of the baby crawl, you're just like...
You'd throw yourself into the wall and then you're like, I'm done.
You have to, like, stand up again after that? No way.
And then... die.
You're reliving the torture, so it's just...
And then...
physical memory.
Because there's so many people, you do 4 groups.
Uh-huh.
And it's like, oh, well,
if you're
doing like 6 and 60s, you have like 3 minutes rest, right? No. Because you're doing pull-ups or push-ups or flutter kicks or squats burpees.
Oh, I forgot about that because coach took pity on me some more with that as well. It's not like I can do pull-ups.
Well, no, I never did.
Yeah,
I'd do like the one pull-up I could do and then be like, I'm going to attempt a second, and then I'd just collapse on the ground and be like, all right, someone else's turn.
Dead. I will attempt to do push-ups.
But then, like, there would be ones where it's like, oh, yeah, here, just when they say go, you just do a plank.
Oh, yeah.
And you're sitting there breathing super hard,
yeah,
trying to do this plank, and you're like, my abs don't want to work. So you're going like this.
Oh, yeah.
Just doing push-ups after that, and you
remember at least the one time it got really bad. We were sprinting so much that the whole floor, the whole wrestling mat was just a slip and slide.
Yes.
It's just covered in sweat. I've told this story before. I think you have as well, even to like my family and stuff. It was so dangerous. Coach stopped practice because we were slipping and falling into each other from all of the sweat on the floor. Like the pipes were dripping down.
Yeah, because what they would do,
it was all steamy.
Kids were trying to lose weight.
Yeah.
Cut weight. And so one of the coaches had gone to the trainers and gotten a bag of ice and put it on the thermostat. So the thermostat was like, oh, it's like 70 or it's like 40 degrees in here. We got to crank up the heat. And then they shut all the doors.
Yeah. Yep.
And they just kept putting bags of ice on that. And so we were all
sprinting around.
Soaked. So there were a couple practices where that happened where I literally lost like 15 pounds of water.
In practice. But it was so dangerous. Like, all right, sprint for 10 seconds, and then you're running into people. You're kicking out ankles. Like, you can't even walk straight. That's gross.
I mean, let alone wrestle. Mm-hmm. Like, you couldn't be on your feet and wrestle, or else you just get pushed over.
Yeah.
Like you get, you go into a lock, and then you just like
slip and slide,
start making out on the ground,
out of bounds. It was bad. That was bad.
Collar tie him, and then just slip on your face and have a bloody nose.
Twist your ankle.
Good times.
Yeah, good.
So I wrestled in 8th grade, and then I was like, and 8th grade wrestling is like the introduction, and they're like, yeah, do one sprint, and so it was like, oh yeah, that was fun.
That was fun.
And then I did it in 9th grade. And, like, the first, like, couple weeks of the school year, like, pretty chill, right? We ran a little bit, lifted a little bit. I was like, this isn't too bad. Then, like, the season starts, it's like, the first couple weeks of the season are, like, the weed-out seat because there's no matches, so you can be as tired as you freaking want. Mm-hmm. And so the coaches would just obliterate you.
Yep.
And, like, that's when you run a lot of 6 and 60s. And a lot of strip matches.
Just conditioning.
Which makes sense, and, like, a bunch of kids, like... We would start the season with like 120 kids.
Full wrestling.
And then by the end, it's like 75 or 80.
Yeah, totally.
And so, but for that first season, I was like, yeah, I'm going to stick it out and do it. And I did it. And I was like, that was fun. Ish. Not really. And then I was like, am I going to do this next year? Yeah, I'll do it next year. I'll get Trevor to join too.
Yeah, you convinced me to join sophomore year.
Yeah, so you joined and it, we were both stupid enough to do it again the next year.
For some reason.
And then like, the year after that, I was like, am I going to do my senior year too? I guess so.
I guess.
And, like, what was crazy is that a bunch of my buddies from the team didn't do a senior year either.
Oh, yeah.
So we went from a group, the junior group that we had was, like, 30 strong, and then there was only, like, 10 of us senior year.
Wow, I didn't realize that, or didn't remember.
And so I was like, shoot, man, am I going to, like, all these guys didn't do it. Like, do I want to do it? And I did it, and it still sucked.
It was still bad.
But it was still fun.
Still torturous.
Looking back on it, I was like, why in the hell did I do that? I was tired all the time. I was hungry all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I mean, I was a tank.
Mm-hmm.
I was, like, my senior year, 230, 16% body fat.
Pretty good muscle, yeah.
I could squat 400-ish pounds, deadlift so a decent amount, like 400-ish, a little more, I was in the 1,000-pound club with all my lifts.
Oh, nice, yeah.
And then, run a mile in 7 minutes and 30 seconds. I think
cool.
It was like 7:28 or something like that. That was my goal, was to get under 7 minutes and 30 seconds. I got 7:28 or something. It's like, that's pretty okay.
Pretty good year, yeah.
And then I never ran a mile after that.
Nope. Never again.
But, alrighty, well.
Cool. Let's call it there. Thanks for watching this week's episode of the 5G Podcast. We hope you enjoyed.
As always, feel free to like, comment, and subscribe if you enjoyed this content.
We're available on all social medias, as well as you can watch or listen to us on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts, wherever you get your podcasts.
Again, thanks for watching, and we hope to see you next week.
Thanks.